like figure out if it's the first 10 seconds, the first 5 seconds, but it cuts off like the first portion of whatever I'm talking about in the stream. So with that, I'm just gonna take a breather in the beginning of each stream for now on, hopefully. So let's get into it. I am going to edit 11:10, 11:11, and 11:12 of the podcasts today, and then upload them to Anchor. Again, if you'd like to support COVID-19 LST, feel free to go to anchor.fm/COVID-19LST/support, and we'd really appreciate it. Okay, anyway, let's get into it. So today is going to be a little bit more complicated than usual because we have 2 audio files where 2 separate people have recorded. So we're going to have to do that in a multi-track mixdown unless we're going to copy and paste everything, which I'm not going to do that. Hoping that we can cut with the razor tool in this track and do it like that. But before that, I'm going to edit within the file itself so we have a clean file to work with. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to start with the shorter of the 2. And I moved my mic closer to my person than usual. I don't know if I needed to do that. I don't know if it'll sound better, if it'll sound worse. I'm sure you can hear all my every time I breathe in, which drives me bonkers. It drives me nuts. It's one of the things, but that's just how life works, I guess. Okay, let's get into it.
The report for November 10th, 2020. Management. Is there an association between early treatment with tocilizumab and mortality among critically ill patients with COVID-19? Investigators on the Stop COVID study of the
I take away all this like blank audio, like this there's no audio waves here, obviously, because it's just kind of awkward.
COVID study, or the study of the treatment and outcomes in critically ill patients with COVID-19, retrospect.
Okay, so this small, you can see here, small like
retrospectively analyzed data of 3,924 COVID-19 or the study of the treatment and outcomes in critically ill COVID-19 retrospectively analyzed data of 3,924 COVID-19 patients from 68 U.S. hospitals admitted to the ICU. They compared estimated 30-day mortality rates of patients that received tocilizumab, an IL-6 inhibitor, in the first 2 days of ICU admission.
I don't know what tocilizumab is, but man, either it's not helping or you're already too far gone. Like
ICU admission versus those who did not. The research performed inverse probability weighting those who did not. The researchers performed inverse first 2 days of ICU admission versus those who did not. The researchers performed inverse probability weighting to ensure that baseline and severity of illness factors were balanced in study groups. The result revealed an estimated 30-day mortality of 27.5%.
That sounds pretty high, 27.5%.
In patients treated with tocilizumab, compared to 37.1% in patients without.
Oh, okay, maybe tocilizumab is really good.
Suggesting that the drug's benefit in treatment of critically ill COVID-19 patients.
Okay, yeah, the drug's really good. Yeah.
Investigative affiliate at Yale School of Medicine.
Oh, we need the jingle. I'm so listening to every word, trying to figure out what this says, even though I don't have this background or this knowledge. It's like oops. pay attention. Alright, so we always grab it from here. Command C. Command V. And again, I've said this in previous videos, but I think I'm going to reiterate it. The asterisk right here indicates that you have not saved this file. So it's just kind of like telling you, hey, I'm not saved, I've been edited. That is really loud in my background. So yeah.
Patients. Investigators affiliated with Yale School of Medicine performed a systematic review of 86 studies worldwide, consisting of 2,560 patients on dermatologic manifestations in COVID-19 patients. They found an association with chilblains, purine-like lesions at 51.5%, erythematous maculopapular rashes at 13.3%, and other viral exanthems at 7.7%. Average time of skin lesion onset was 7.9 days after upper respiratory infection symptoms in adults, and
little tiny breath. I don't want to take too much.
And 1.5 days in children. These findings suggest that the dermatologic manifestations may be another way to identify COVID-19 and better manage the spread of disease. The report.
Oh, okay, cool. So let's edit this one, and then we'll dig into the multi-track session. Okay, wow, we're just gonna dive. No space.
Transmission and prevention. Pediatricians published best practices for breastfeeding mothers who were positive for or were exposed to COVID-19 in JAMA Pediatrics. These authors expressed that while the literature is uncertain on the risk of COVID-19 transmission through breast milk, this route of transmission seems unlikely, and protective antibodies are likely to be the only SARS-CoV-2 material to be transmitted. They believe that their proposed practices for breastfeeding, while infected with COVID-19, will be safe, although they note that suggestions may change over time. R&D.
Diagnosis and treatments.
Over time. R&D. Diagnosis and treatments. At what times during infection is SARS-CoV-2 detectable? And then again,
I don't know. I would say 5 to 7 days.
Detectable. And then again, no longer detectable using RT-PCR-based tests.
That's a great question. I don't know. Because I heard it can come back. You're like, okay, I'm not an expert, right? But like, I heard you can test negative, and then like a month later, you can test positive.
A systematic review.
Because it's like stuck in your body, right?
Review of 32 longitudinal studies examine the accuracy, temporal sensitivity, and optimal sampling site strategies for SARS-CoV-2. The authors reported on a total of 1,020 COVID-19 RT-PCR participants.
Nice.
And one.
Okay, I really hope the stream didn't pick that up. That was very annoying.
And 1,619 test results for 11 different sampling sites at various times during their infection. They found that the highest rate of virus detection was within 4 days of symptom onset, at 89%, which fell between 10 to 14 days. The authors discussed the limited accuracy of RT-PCR, how early testing may minimize false negative results, and how lower respiratory tract or fecal testing may be preferred over nasopharyngeal sampling when testing patients who are more than a few days post-symptom onset. There is a clinical impact of monocyte distribution.
There's no quiet. Just want peace and quiet. Is that ASMR enough? That was pretty gross, I'm sorry. Okay.
There's a clinical impact of monocyte distribution with a neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio that distinguishes COVID-19 and influenza from other respiratory tract infections.
Sorry. So I'm sure honestly, anyone like this, I'm sure as we've been going through with all these videos, if anyone's been keeping up, let's see. No one is watching right now. No one is on the stream. That's okay. But anyway, if you're watching and you've been keeping up, you'll be able to tell what specific things happen, such as people's breaths, or what's another good example? Breaths is really the most blatant one in my opinion. Popping peas, that's a good one. Either way, it's like line of audio, and you could tell what is what. I mean, obviously I can't tell the words or anything like that, but if this had bottomed out up here, I could say, okay, that's probably a pop. We're gonna do Command Z. I could argue this is a breath, and I could actually take more out if I wanted to, but that's good enough.
According to a cohort study conducted at Taipei Medical
This is gonna be a breath, right?
University Hospital in Taiwan, they analyzed potential biomarkers of SARS-CoV-2 infection in 174 patients. 9 with nasal swab RT-PCR confirmed COVID-19, 24 with influenza confirmed via test, and 141 determined to have common upper respiratory infections. The authors found that the monocyte distribution with greater than or equal to 20 and neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio greater than 3.2 could independently distinguish COVID-19 from common upper respiratory tract infections. Further, combining these two markers shows promise for efficient identification of both COVID-19 and influenza infections. For clinicians uncertain about diagnosing COVID-19 or for those doubting a test result, the monocyte distribution with and neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio may become a useful tool in identifying patients with COVID-19.
So I know how I kind of commented on the last audio a lot. The truth is, I don't know what's going with. Okay, I think this is going to be a breath. I don't know what's been going on in this one. I have no idea.
A multidisciplinary group of drug development experts from the UK, USA, Switzerland, and Italy reviewed literature of antiviral protein binding on in vivo drug activity by assessing data from antiretroviral drug development and reached a consensus.
Okay, I'm not trying to spread misinformation, but I did see on TikTok today, and I know, I think it's silly that I am also addicted to TikTok, but I saw on TikTok today this guy, let me turn the volume all the way down on my phone, a COVID vaccine, and to kind of put some proof to this thing, I'll give you the tag if anyone wants it up. It is at Steen9, so that's STE9, at Steen9. He's verified, but a lot of people were commenting, oh, it's probably a flu shot, or he's probably not in this country, aka the US. So I don't know, but he takes you through the whole thing. He puts you in his lab, and he's driving through this it's a barn, it's like a drive-through shot, and he claims it's the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm a little skeptical. Depending probably a flu shot. But I saw that and I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
The found plasma concentrations could not be compared to in vitro activity. And researchers must instead compare in vivo and in vitro free drug concentrations. They cited recent studies investigating remdesivir and lopinavir as possible agents against SARS-CoV-2,
I was going to say that. Yeah.
which do not affect protein binding.
Yeah, the protein is just, it's like fish instead of steak,
They argue that the correct interpretation of protein data is critical for identification of the most promising drug candidates.
So, I hope that I'm trying to joke around while I did this because this is such a serious manner. Like, this is like horrible, right? This is sombering.
Candidates.
Okay. But I'm trying to bring a little bit of personality to it. Okay. All right, we're going to take these two multi-sessions. So multi-track. And I'm going to protocol good. 44-100 hertz. I hope you guys can see this. Let me check. Cannot. Chains captured. Here we go. This is what it is. Alright, so I've changed the capture so you see it as a session name, untitled. Yeah, we're not going to name it because I'm not going to save it because we're just going to export it. It tells you where I'm saving on my computer. Template. I'm not using template. Even though I can hear them, I'll show you some template. Good template. DJ drop. Alright, that was a little too much. But when I used to work in the radio industry, we used voiceover with music ducking. You know what? I'll just show you. Why not? Well, no, I'm not going to. Sorry. Basically, the only difference that I found is that they have already had their own sample rate, their own bit depth, and their own mastering. Not that we're going to customize these at all, but they change colors and they change labeling for the multi-track sessions. I just don't think that it is beneficial to our podcast, and it actually might be hurtful to transferring files. Anyway, we're going to keep it the 44-100 hertz and the 16-bit depth, but we're going to export it as 32 bits. And yeah, we're going to keep it stereo. Okay. Oh, Twitch changed the screen. Cool. Yes, this is what I was doing. So we're actually going to take the intro first. Oh, are we going to get crazy with it? Okay, I think we're going to get crazy with it. And I think it's Will go first. Oh boy, we're going to get crazy with it. But we need Jasmine's audio first. So this is where the razor tool comes in handy. And then we want to have the outro next. Wow. We're really getting crazy with it. I'm kind of not here for it, but that's okay. And then, oh my god, the jingles. Yeah, together. And the outro. No, the outro, and then the jingle. No. Oh gosh, that's it. Okay. Oh no. Okay. We don't want to mute that. We do mute this. So I'm pressing M, which is mute. And these are the files I want to mute.
Welcome back to.
So I want to zoom in. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. That was cool. Here we go. Okay, but now I want to. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of multi-track mixdown. It's super useful. It's just It's a little convoluted. Okay, so right now our decibels are at 0, which is standard, and I'm just gonna lift it up to 1.5 for all the files except for the...
Welcome back to the Daily Report, brought to you by the COVID-19 Literature Surveillance Team.
We are your hosts, Will Smith
and Jasmine Robb.
Bring highlights from our newest report. The report
Transmission
for
and
November 10th, 2020.
Okay, so now we need the razor tool. Okay. And we need... I haven't done anything like this in a long time. Okay, again, we have to raise this to 1.5 decibels. And then...
The report, November 10th, 2020.
No. Oh my god.
Pediatric transmission and
2020.
Transmission.
November 10th, 2020.
Transmission and pediatrician.
And then we're going to also bring up the decibels.
Best practices for breast who were positive for or were exposed to COVID-19 in JAMA Pediatrics. These authors express that while the literature is uncertain on the risk of COVID-19 transmission through breast milk, this route of transmission seems unlikely, and protective antibodies are likely to be the only SARS-CoV-2 material to be...
Okay, we don't need to listen to all of it. It's just, we don't need to go through that again. So here's the jingle. So, razor tool. But I hope it doesn't cut. I don't think it everything. I don't think it cut like what's above it or anything like that. Oh, undo. We want to keep that jingle there. Because now it's time to talk about teclizumab. You know me and my lexicon. Teclizumab. Okay. Okay, so mute. Not mute.
Management. Is there an association between early treatment with teclizumab and mortality among critically ill patients?
Teclizumab. He'll save the world. He's the new superhero. Teclizumab. No, I don't know.
Change over time.
Management.
Time.
Management. Is there an association?
Well, I'm really excited that I get to show whoever is watching some new stuff. Because I haven't done anything like this in...
Management. Is there an association between early treatment with teclizumab and mortality among critically ill patients with COVID-19? Investigators on the Stop COVID.
I gotta stop goofing on it. Okay, okay, teclizumab. Investigators affiliated with School of Medicine. That's what we're looking for right now.
COVID-19 patients. Investigators affiliated with Yale School of Medicine.
Okay, so we're gonna keep...
Average time of skin lesion onset was 7.19 and better manage the spread of disease.
Okay, so, and I'm linking this up with the website, so let me just show you guys why I've been pausing and like figuring all this out. Change capture, Google. Okay, so what I've been doing is, this is how we started out, transmission prevention. And now we've gotten to management. And so this is the last part of Will's, and then it's Jasmine again. So that's why I've been trying to make sure that it's in order. Because I guess I could just throw it all to it. It wouldn't reflect the report in the way that someone has put it together. And in my opinion, when it comes to telling a story, even if the story is pretty cut and dry, it's all about what's the word I'm looking for? The delivery. And I'm not, a storyteller by any means, but I would hate to butcher someone's delivery. Anyway, okay. Onward. Okay.
And better manage the spread of disease.
R&D.
Diagnosis and treatments.
Spread of disease.
R&D. Diagnosis and treatment. At what time during infection is SARS-CoV-2 detectable, and then again no longer detectable using PCR-based tests? A systematic review of 32 longitudinal studies examined the accuracy, template, and all sites and strategies for SARS-CoV-2. The authors reported on a total of 1,023 COVID-19 RT-PCR confirmed participants and 1,619 test results for 11 different sampling sites at various times during the session. They found that the highest rate of virus detection was in 4 days of symptom onset at 89%, which fell to 4% between 10 to 14 days. The authors discussed the limit.
Okay, real quick, sorry, I have to look at this important text message, sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sorry. I won't, obviously get into details because I'm streaming it. But unfortunately, it is COVID related. Okay.
Manage the spread of disease.
R&D. Diagnosis and treatments.
Okay, yeah, we listened to this. Sorry, I'm really just...
Of the most promising drug candidates.
Okay, so the most promising drug candidates. Perfect. And that is the end of the report on the podcast. So let me... I think we got all the
The report.
Okay, and we have the intro. Yep. Okay, so now it's time for... That's all from Will. Love it. That's what we're doing. Okay, let's see. I've never... Let's see if we can copy and paste into a multi-track. We cannot do that. Okay, that makes sense. So this is what we're going to do instead. And we're just going to put it right in there because it really doesn't matter. Because it's, again, 2 seconds long.
Critical for identifying the most promising drug candidates.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Love it. Okay. Let's go to the outro. We already have that on our multi-track. Duh. Yeah, okay, so we're going to unmute it, and then we're going to drag it. Okay, that was too aggressive.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay informed with us.
Okay, and then we have to raise the decibels on this one. Oh, that was too high. And I don't think you guys can see it, unfortunately, because it's kind of like a little add-on that Twitch doesn't pick up. But I'm just raising the decibels to 1.5.
Read less, do more.
With COVID-19, LST.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I love it. Okay. We've done the jingles, we did the will, we did the outro, the intro. Okay, I think what's left to edit is this bottom layer right here, this pink strip. You can see. Excuse me. Okay, we're going to take this down to negative 30 decibels, which you might say, how is there negative decibels? And then I would tell you, I don't know, but there is. So we're going to do negative 28 decibels. Oh, okay, hold on. Maybe I can change this.
Identification of the most promising drug candidates.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to
Oh, I can't have it play over itself. Okay, so there's like nothing. Okay, so we're gonna do this instead. This is gonna be weird. Okay, so we're just gonna take this command copy, and then we're gonna go to new audio file, and we're not gonna save this because I have to fix this another, but right now I don't have, I mean, I guess I do have time, but I'm not gonna do it while on Twitch. And then we're gonna move it up to 1.5 as well.
identification of the most promising drug candidates.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening. That's all for today. Thanks for.
Okay, we're gonna bring it back down to 0 because that was too loud.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay.
Why does it do that? Don't do that. Yeah, fade it in. What you doing?
Continue to stay.
What in the world? Yeah, it's okay. Let's do that.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then we're gonna bring it back up.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay informed with us.
Read less, do more.
With COVID-19 LST. Okay, alright. Again, back to the pink strip. We have to then, okay, I'm gonna zoom out for this one. Wow. I shouldn't have done that much. I mean, zoom out that much. Okay, and we don't want it to move into a different track because it could boot some other things. And we're not going to worry about the key notes right now. We're just going to worry that it covers everything. So it doesn't. This is where it ends. So then we're going to take and we're going to hash together. And we're going to drag those decibels down to again negative 28. It is time to stand. Alright, give me a second, Apple Watch. Alright, so we have one person on right now. That's great. I don't know who it is. But hello. And feel free to leave me a comment or a question in the chat. I would hope I'd be very receptive depending on what it is. But I can answer any questions or comments or concerns that you have about in the track sessions. Alright, let's get back to it. Okay, as you can see now, it's gone like way out here. So we're gonna bring it back because we don't want it to go into the outro. And originally I had it under. That's all. We're gonna change that. And then we're going to zoom in, and we're going to adjust the keynotes. And there's a dog whining outside my door. Love her to death, but cannot be petting you right now. I got all day for that. And so what I'm trying to do is these keys, trying to make it a curve, like a curvature, so it fades out and fades in nicely and smoothly. And it's gray right now because it's muted, so boom, boom, boom. And because I haven't done this in a long time, we're actually just going to listen to it and make sure it doesn't sound like goofy before I export it.
Concentration.
From the beginning, that is.
Welcome back to the Daily Report, brought to you by the COVID-19 Literature Surveillance Team.
We are your hosts, Will Smith
and Jasmine Robb,
bringing you the highlights from our newest report. The report for November 10th, 2020.
Transmission and prevention. Pediatricians published best practices for breastfeeding mothers who were positive for or were exposed to COVID-19 in JAMA Pediatrics. These authors expressed that while the literature is uncertain on the risks of COVID-19 transmission through breast milk, this route of transmission seems unlikely, and protective antibodies are linked to the only SARS-CoV-2 breastfeeding while infected with COVID-19 will be safe, although they know may change over time.
Management.
Okay, I'm really glad I took a listen because I didn't do. Okay, this is not the right one. Oh my god. I don't like this. Oh my god. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, so. And then we're just gonna zoom in. Oh, undo that. I'm gonna zoom in more. Oh my god.
Suggestions may change over time.
Management. Is there an
Okay, I like it.
association between early treatment with tocilizumab and mortality among critically ill patients with COVID-19 and better manage the spread of disease?
R&D.
Okay, so there's not a jingle there. Okay. I'm really glad I took a listen to this, though. Actually, no, this is what we're gonna have to do. So we're just gonna put this right here, this, oh, right there, and then we're gonna raise those decibels. The unfortunate part is we're gonna have to do this again with 1111. Make a wish. Actually, we might not be able to, or not that we're not able to. We might not have to.
Identify COVID-19 and better manage the spread of disease.
R&D.
Okay, now we just need to remove the sound, and that's cool. The dotted line. Actually, undo. Yeah, I did not want to move that file.
Dermatologic manifestations may be another way to identify COVID-19 and better manage the spread of disease.
Okay, so undo.
R&D.
I was about to say that seems a bit excessive compared to the last one, but I wasn't about to question it.
R&D. Diagnosis. At what times during infection is SARS-CoV-2 detectable, and then again no longer detectable using RT-PCR-based tests? A systematic review of 32 longitudinal studies examined the accuracy, temporal sensitivity, and optimal interpretation of protein binding data is critical for identification of the
That's all
most
for today.
promising drug
Thanks
candidates.
for listening.
Yeah.
Identification of the
That's all
most
for today.
promising drug
Thanks for
candidates.
listening.
No. Don't. Why is it doing that? Oh my god, this dog. Hold. Not that. Oh, because I attached it right there. Okay, so undo. Okay. No, excuse you. Yeah, multi-track sessions are not fun, in my opinion. Some people are really good at them, and some people are not me.
Argue that the correct interpretation of protein binding data is critical for identification of the most promising drug candidates.
Yeah. Correct audio usage.
That the correct interpretation of protein binding data is critical for identification of the
That's all
most
for
promising
today.
drug
Thanks
candidates.
for listening.
Yeah, okay.
Identification of the most promising drug candidates.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Promising drug candidates.
That's all for today.
Oh my god, okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so it's been 44 minutes working on the single one. So, yeah, okay. It's gonna be a long stream.
Promising drug candidates.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
The most promising drug candidates.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay informed with us
Read less, do more.
with COVID-19 LST.org.
Okay, I think we fixed all of kind of the hiccups. Except for this one, actually.
Welcome back to the Daily Report.
Okay, so multi-track session. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and export it. So we're gonna go to File, Export multi-track mixdown entire session. We're gonna call it 11_10 final. Yes, gonna export as a 400 hertz stereo 32-bit, even though we edited a 16-bit depth. So it's gonna take a little bit. Give me a second. My dogs are being super annoying. Okay, hope everyone. Okay, yeah. Okay, everyone can still hear me. Okay, so I brought him in the room and acting wild, and I was like, why are they acting wild? And I was like, oh yeah, this is when they get fed. Okay, so someone else is gonna feed them. Okay, anyway. So that one is exported. Now we're gonna go to 11.
The report for November 11th, 2020.
Epidemiology. An observation-based modeling study conducted at Columbia University analyzed reproductive numbers of COVID-19 in the United States. They found a significant and rapid drop following social distancing and other control measures. Based on changes expected from such control measures and counterfactual models, a substantial number of cases and deaths could have been avoided if control measures were implemented 1 to 2 weeks earlier. An optimization model by mathematicians and data scientists using daily travel surveys, census data, an optimization model by mathematicians and data scientists using daily travel surveys, census data, and USPS building locations across various states estimated more than 94% of Americans would travel to a nearby USPS facility less than 7 miles for COVID-19 testing, suggesting that while cost and additional precautions to protect USPS employees need to be considered, the USPS network has the potential to provide greater ease of access to COVID-19 testing for a majority of Americans.
R&D. R&D, diagnosis and treatments. Diagnosis and treatments. And treatments. Diagnosis and treatments. Diagnosis and treatments. A systematic review of 22 reports of rapid COVID-19 tests with 3,000.
Oh my god, I just realized it was muted, so I've been talking to myself. I was talking about how we cleared up that audio file and then the popping piece. Oh my god, that's so funny.
With 3,198 total samples and 1,755 RT-PCR confirmed positive cases, published before May 25, 2020, revealed that antigen tests have a variable sensitivity with an average of 56.2% and specificity of 99.5%. The rapid molecular assays had a sensitivity of 95.2%. Reports of rapid COVID-19 tests with 3,198 total samples and 1,755 RT-PCR confirmed positive cases, published before May 25, 2020, revealed that antigen tests have a variable sensitivity with an average of 56.2% and specificity of 99.5%. The rapid molecular assays had a sensitivity of 95.2% and a specificity of 98.9%. Looking at the calculated pool results for individual tests, revealed that the Expert Express assay had a summary sensitivity of 99.4% and specificity of 96.8%, while ID Now assay had a summary sensitivity of 76.8% and a specificity of 99.6%. That's all for today. Thanks for listening. The report for November 11th. The report for November 11th, 2020.
Epidemiology, an observation-based modeling study conducted at Columbia University, analyzed reproductive numbers of COVID-19 in the United States. They found
The rapid 9.5%.
continue to
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
continue to stay in
Give 99.6%. That's all for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
continue to stay informed with
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
continue to
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
continue to stay informed with us.
Read less, do more.
Okay, I was talking to myself again. What I was saying was, there's still one viewer, and it's been an hour in 1 minute. So kudos to you. You stayed for at least 15 minutes, I think. It's been 15 minutes. So go ahead and feel free to drop me. No, I thought it was going to. No, it's not. Feel free to go ahead and drop me a question, comment, or anything, and I will get back to editing once I take the snap. Okay, you heard me take the snap. All right. Nice.
The report for November 12, 2020.
Epidemiology. A retrospective cohort study conducted by physicians in Wuhan, China, found no significant difference in levels of testosterone, follicle-stimulating hormone, or luteinizing hormone between 39 male patients with 2 and 22 control patients without SARS-CoV-2, nor between cases with severe versus moderate disease. However, 20 patients with greater than 50 days of viral shedding had elevated estradiol levels compared to those of shorter shedding duration, suggesting that SARS-CoV-2 is unlikely to cause sterility or hypogonadism.
Transmission and prevention. An international group of vaccine development experts from the Accelerating COVID-19 Therapeutic Interventions and Vaccines Working Group, or ACTIV, ACTIV, conducted a review of available literature regarding vaccine-associated enhanced disease, or VAED, and determined that the risk of COVID-19 VAED is similar to the risk associated with any other viral vaccine, and acknowledged that the human experience of COVID-19 may differ from animal or in vitro studies, recommending rigorous surveillance and Phase 3 trials to evaluate for safety and efficacy of any COVID-19 vaccine.
Management. A retrospective cohort study by pediatricians in Florence, Italy, of central precocious puberty in girls presenting to their clinic during and after the Italian COVID-19 lockdown between March and July 2020 found that there were more cases of central precocious puberty in patients seen in 2020 compared to the previous years. They also witnessed accelerated progression in girls with previously diagnosed central precocious puberty, more advanced Tanner stages in newly diagnosed puberty, and higher levels of LH and estradiol. These changes are attributed to the physiological stress and increased electronic device use during lockdown, and suggest that environmental factors strongly influence pubertal development.
Adjusting practice during COVID-19. A letter to the editor by the Netherlands Comprehensive Cancer Organization discusses derailed oncological care during the COVID-19 and subsequent reprioritization of healthcare services and determined that healthcare changes resulting from COVID-19 contributed to fewer breast and colorectal cancer diagnoses among age groups eligible for cancer screening, with slow return to expected rates following gradual restarts of cancer screenings. More information is needed to determine the long-term clinical outcomes of decreased cancer screening and diagnosis, particularly when these findings may represent decreased overdiagnosis of particular early-stage cancers, but believe the trend warrants further investigation.
R&D, diagnosis and treatments. Spanish immunologists investigated immunogenicity of cysteine-like protease, or MPRO, which is a non-structural SARS-CoV-2 protein, by comparing samples from 36 COVID-19 patients diagnosed by RT-PCR versus 33 negative controls. They found high titer IgG, IgM, and IgA against MPRO in serum and detected MPRO antibodies in all saliva samples collected from patients. This suggests that the detection of MPRO antibodies could be used to distinguish infected from non-infected individuals, and that saliva tests could be used as a reliable, non-invasive test for seropositivity. In vitro studies done by researchers in Ecuador proposed development of amino-ester magnetic nanoparticles as a
Oh my god, okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go change my laundry.
particles as a cost-efficient and rapid method for COVID-19 diagnostics. In an effort to improve and expand testing across Latin America, they predict that utilizing magnetic nanoparticles to diagnose COVID-19 cases will allow for the production of 50,000 COVID-19 tests in 2 days.
Mental health. Mental health and resilience. Public health experts at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas conducted a cross-sectional survey of 194 undergraduate and graduate students assessing demographic factors, exercise minutes, and PHQ-9 scores before and after the issuance of a stay-at-home order on May 7th through 28th, 2020, and found a mean PHQ-9 score increased from 5.58 pre-order to 9.61 after, and mean physical activity minutes decreased from 409 to 330 minutes, suggesting that because the stay-at-home order correlated with increased levels of depression and decreased levels of physical activity among college students, colleges should consider targeted interventions teaching coping skills and resiliency for students.
And here are some resources. That we wanted to share with you. A study by anesthesiologists at the University Medical Center Maribor, Slovenia, and Bern University Hospital in Switzerland compared the quality of 155 COVID-19 related publications versus 130 non-COVID-19 publications in the New England Journal of Medicine, Journal of the American Medical Association, and The Lancet. They found that non-COVID-19 publications were more likely to have higher levels of evidence and had favorable quantitative quality scores when they were compared to COVID-19 publications, indicating that initial COVID-19 research published in these major scientific journals were not up to their typical standards, and further analysis on the progression of COVID-19 research quality is warranted. Swedish emergency physicians and data scientists assessed trends in published scientific literature in COVID-19 by analyzing 16,670 articles published between February 14th and June 1st this year, with a PubMed title or abstract including the phrase COVID or COVID-19. Using latent derelict allocation, they identified 14 main topics and assessed their frequency as the pandemic progressed. They found that the proportion of papers on epidemiology, modeling, healthcare response, and radiology decreased throughout their study period, while those on clinical manifestations and protective measures increased. Continue
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the Daily Report brought to you by COVID-19 Literature Surveillance Team.
We are your hosts, Will Smith
and Jasmine Robb,
bringing you the highlights from our newest report. The report for November 12th, 2020.
Epidemiology. A retrospective cohort study conducted by physicians in Wuhan, China, found no significant SARS-CoV-2, nor between
Enhanced disease, or VA.
increased.
That's all
measures increase.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay
Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay
Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay informed. Continue.
That's all for today. Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay informed with.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Continue to stay informed with.
Thanks for listening.
Continue to stay informed with us.
Read less, do more.
With COVID-19, LST.org.
Okay, thanks for listening, everyone. Sorry I was a bit quiet towards the end of the stream, which is very loud in the house. But so we successfully edited and exported 11:10, 11:11, and 11:12 today of the COVID-19 LST podcast. So these are going to be uploaded to Anchor FM here in the next 10 minutes. If you'd like to give a listen to it, you can listen to it on our website, covid19lst.org, or on Spotify and Apple Podcasts app. I recommend Spotify 9 times out of 10 over Apple Podcasts. But anyway, nonetheless, that was the streaming session today. So have a good weekend, everyone.